Opening night, Allegiance. What was it like for you?
It was amazing. I'm so happy to be here doing this show in this place. I feel like this story really belongs here and deserves to be told here. So many of the community members, the Japanese American community who have been affected by the incarceration experience still live here. And I'm so grateful that I get to be here over the course of these 5 or 6 weeks that we're playing to meet some of these people and then really give them a chance to see this and see themselves reflected in their experience and their family's experience reflected. Because as we stand now, so many of the folks who have been directly affected by it have passed. And so those people can't tell their story anymore. And since they can't speak for themselves, things like this, it gives me the privilege to be able to stand here and say that I'm helping give voice to and tell their story. So I feel so grateful to be a part of this.
Thank you for sharing that. I know you mentioned before when we talked off camera about the difference between New York Allegiance and Little Tokyo Allegiance and just being here in this space and how much it adds to the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I really appreciate about it is that there are certain expectations, I think, that a show that's on Broadway have to fulfill sort of things that need to be fulfilled that maybe don't necessarily highlight the story and tell the story. And I feel like this production does a really great job of honing in on the things that are essential. And I think it also does a really good job of recognizing that there are going to be a lot of community members who are really familiar with this story and this experience. And so being sensitive to that and having an awareness of that. So when we're communicating the thing, as we devise things through rehearsals, I think that we were able to come to an understanding that we're going to be speaking to a higher percentage of Asian Americans and Japanese Americans than we did in New York. And I think that really shows in the work that we did.
And how is it for you revisiting Mike?
It's actually been terrific. Things have been reconfigured in this particular iteration because there was a contraction in the number of cast members. So the person who was primarily my scene partner has been merged into all the other white characters. So that meant that because of quick change in possibilities, that the scenes had to be rewritten to get the same amount of exposition out. Consequently, it sort of changed the nature of the scenes that I ended up doing. So probably my roles is one of the ones that changed the most from Broadway to now. And I think it's still effective, but I think that I was just talking to Kathy and Mark Masaoka. Mark Masaoka is Mike Masaoka's nephew. And they were saying, that one of the unfortunate effects of that is it takes the onus off of the government's responsibility because you don't see the representation of the governmental figure who is the director of the War Relocation Authority at the time. You don't see his authority and the oppression that is being felt by all of our people under the government, which is really like the overriding consideration when you talk about the incarceration experience. But despite all that, I think that the story is, very well told in this iteration, and I think people are going to really enjoy it. And I look forward to performing it for LA and Little Tokyo.